Dis After Dark Podcast is sponsored by Unofficial.com, the home of Halloween Horror Nights news and rumors all year round. Find us on the web at www.hhnunofficial.com. So stop the fog machines and clear the cobwebs. It's time for another episode of the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Wendy Presser at Magical Journeys Travel is proud to be a sponsor of the After Dark Podcast Network. Whether you've been to Disney 1 or 100 times, there's still lots of planning involved. Let Wendy be the one on at midnight when your window opens to get that Be Our Guest reservation or that comes with Anna and Elsa Fastpass for your own princess. Mention that you heard this ad on one of our podcasts and get $25 off your deposit with any trip package. Be sure to ask about her generous onboard credits for Disney Cruise Lines as well. Find her on Twitter at WP Magic Journeys or WPMagicJourneys.com. Well, hello and welcome to Pop After Dark, the, what is it, monthly, bi-monthly? I don't know how often we do these, but...
Once a month, man, once a month.
Yeah? Okay. It feels longer than that sometimes. Anyway, I'm Nick and joined, as always, by Mr. Craig Lucas. How are you doing, sir?
Oui bien sûr, j'habite à Liverpool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Encore une fois.
Je m'appelle à le taxi.
Oh, man. You know what? I had such a crush on... Oh, I forgot her name. What's the bloody name?
Pierre Manuel.
So Pierre Manuel. She was married to... Oh, no, she wasn't married to Depp, was she? She was... She went out of him for a long time. Oh, God. What's her name? Oh, she had... it wasn't Joe Le Taxi that I liked. Because that was...
Who sung Joe Le Taxi?
Vanessa Paradis. So what that was...
Shanghai Taxi 2010, Joel Fletcher remix, is by Ricky Stone.
Oh, okay. Shanghai Taxi?
No, not Shanghai Taxi.
Do you know that?
No. And I don't care to know either. But it was Vanessa Paradis. And in...
Shanghai Taxi. Oh, I want a taxi. I was being all Shanghai.
That sounds shite. Well, it doesn't. It just sounds proper generic. But no, it was. I think it was 92, and she released a song called "Be My Baby," and I was in love. Oh, that video! She just looked so stunning. I think she must have been about 16 or 17. Yeah. That was the time I got my first crushes. So that year, so we had Vanessa Paradis singing that and this amazing video, and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. They were the first crushes I had.
What are you drinking?
That's a good point. Hang on a second. I've been sat here. We did some pre-talking before we press record. I've been sat here with my drink the whole time, ready to go. And mine is a can.
Cherry Patchy Max.
No, it's a can of Bud Light.
Oh, Bud Light. It touches the spot or the spots can't touch. Huh? I've just had quite a strange conversation with Walt Disney World for about 40 minutes, which I can go into if you want, because we've got nothing else to talk about. So I'm really trying to stay off the drink at the moment, but I feel the need for speed. So I'm having...
Please don't look for speed.
A wee in a glass. Now I'm having an old Putney single malt.
Nice.
12-year-old whiskey from Wick.
I'm not a big fan of whiskey, I'll be honest. And a couple of, well, actually, I think it was my first Father's Day, so probably about 3 years ago now. It was my first one as a dad. And my wife and the children, obviously, bought me a bottle of Hague Club, which is
Okay.
this whiskey brand that's part owned by David Beckham and I think Simon Fuller. I think he's involved as well. Comes in a really nice blue square bottle. Really pretty it is. It's pretty pricey as well for what it is. I think it was about 30 quid or 40 quid for a bottle.
Is that a single malt or a blended?
I think it's blended.
That's quite an expensive one then for the blended.
But it might be. I'll have a look. But to be honest, it just burned. I was not a fan of it at all.
Did you not put a splash of water in?
Single grain whiskey.
Oh, single malt. So that's like an average price then, yeah.
So well, first of all, I bought some whiskey stones.
What is a whiskey stone?
Whiskey stones. So they're cubes. I think they're made out of obviously some kind of stone. But the idea being is that you have them instead of ice cubes, so they don't dilute your drinks. What you do is you put these stones in the freezer. They get really cold and they keep their coldness for a long time. And you put those in your alcoholic beverage of choice, and so it doesn't dilute the drink, because obviously ice melts and then dilutes your drink. So, whiskey is supposed to be a drink you drink with either like a little touch of water or completely plain. Hence the whiskey stones. But I found it a bit much.
I used to drink when I was a scally. When I first started
when I used to be a scally.
When I first started seeing my wife, who was my bed at the time, and I used to think I was a whiskey drinker because I used to drink Bells. And I used to drink it occasionally by the bottle. When we'd go round to friends' house for a meal or whatever, we'd have a bottle of Bells between us. And I used to drink it with pure orange juice.
Oh, God.
And it takes all the edge away from the whiskey. And it just gets you where you want to go very, very quickly. And it cleans your pipes out the next day.
Does it really?
Yes. So it's one to try if you want. Well, you can have vodka and orange, can't you? But no one has whiskey and orange.
No, actually, I mean that's the wife's tipple of choice, orange and vodka. She gets absolutely paralytic on it. I mean, I don't think I've seen her drink one in about 4 or 5 years because of how bad she gets on it. She just drinks it like it's orange juice, and so it gets drunk really, really quickly. I don't think I could be doing. To me, just orange and alcohol doesn't mix. Unless it's Cointreau.
Yeah, right. Well, we're going somewhere now. What's the worst you have ever been, drink-wise?
Mine was actually probably my second or third time I was drunk. So the first time I'd ever been drinking properly was at a friend's 21st birthday, and I was 15. And I was drinking vodka Red Bull. It was 1999. So I was drinking vodka Red Bull. That was the drink everyone was going for at the time. And I'd only had like 2 or 3 of them, but I'd never really drunk before. So I remember going home and waking up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and there was a song, a really famous dance song on the radio at the time called Big Love, and it's quite thumpy. And I used to go to sleep listening to my radio Walkman. So I woke up about 4 or 5 in the morning, that song was playing, and the room was just spinning while I was like staring up at the ceiling. And
at what time had you got to bed?
Oh, 10, 11.
So a good 6 hours later, the room's still spinning.
But that was the thing, I didn't have that feeling before. I woke up like it. I didn't go to bed like it. That was the weird thing. I felt a bit funny, but I didn't. It was when I woke up that the room was spinning. So that was the first time, and I remember going to school the next day, and I had like a mock French exam or something, and that didn't go very well. Pete Heller's Big Love.
Yeah, 2001. That
boom,
was.
Boom, 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 boom.
And that was your head.
No, 19. I think it came out originally in 98 or 99. But
I can see your head now.
yeah.
Come on, let that spew out, mate.
Such a tune.
Spew out, son.
Such a tune.
Well, when I was a scally, we used to go to the local off licence and we could buy a litre bottle of lager for 99p and a litre bottle of cider for 99p. It was called something like White Lightning or Blue Lightning or something like that.
You got White Lightning, White Diamonds.
It might have been White Diamond. That sounds quite.
Oh no, sorry, Diamond White. Sorry, Diamond White.
Okay, maybe Diamond White.
Yeah.
And so therefore, you would have 2 litres of snakebite for £1.98. And you would we would all have that each. So there'd be a gang of us with gallons of snakebite. So we could get pretty messed up with that. And I can remember spewing my ring in the bin. And then just getting back into bed like you do. But the worst of being in the modern era, as a grown man, as an adult, as someone who should know better, was 3 years ago in Stuart's house. So on the day, it was like the perfect storm. Eve had just sat an entrance exam for a posh school that she ultimately didn't get into. She didn't make the cut on their exams. But on the day she had that exam, she'd got into the school she wanted to get into on a music scholarship. Liverpool were playing at home against West Brom. Kerry and Grace were out watching Wicked on the Empire. So me and Eve had gone over to Stuart's house, who has been on podcasts in the past and watched Wishes with me last week on Dis After Dark. Wishes! And in a 3-hour period, whilst watching Liverpool on the TV, his daughter fed me, and it was his daughter, I hold her fully responsible. You, Rebecca Miller. She's 16 in a couple of weeks. I was the first person to hold her. She pooed in my hand. That bit, that black poo they do?
Yeah.
I had that in my hand. So she was the first baby I'd ever held, but she brought me 13 cans of Stella, one after another. They were all ice cold. They all slid down beautifully. And as one can finished, the next can was brought out. I didn't have to get up out my chair. 13 cans of Stella in 3 hours. And he opened a bottle of amaretto. Is it? It tastes like wedding cake.
Yeah.
Takes marzipan.
Yeah, love amaretto. Yep.
Yeah, because he said, taste this, it tastes fucking horrible. So I was like, that, gives a go with that, lad. I got fucking blitzed. I blacked out. I was crawling round on my hands and knees. My wife phoned up with, what did we want from the chippy? I tore a strip off her. My kids turned up. I'm literally spewing my ring up in the toilet. I'm outside in the back garden, asleep, in torrential rain, comes in with no socks on. I'd been asleep for half an hour in the rain, soaked through. I come home that night and slept on the couch. I thought my head had been split open. When I did have a wee at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was like treacle coming out of me. It was one of them life-changing experiences.
It gets worse. It does get worse. I mean, so the first time I was actually that kind of drunk was only a few months later. Me and a friend I used to go to school with went to Tenerife with his mum and her boyfriend. It was just a few weeks shy of our 16th birthday, and they were quite happy to just let us do what we wanted to do. So it was like, we'd go down, have breakfast with him in the morning. We both had our own rooms, and it's like, right, off you go now, boys, do whatever you want to do. And in Tenerife, I don't know what it's like now, I've not been back since, but there was no drinking. Well, no, sorry, I think the drinking age was like 13 or something stupid.
My goodness.
It was young. It might have been even 12. So we could go into like supermarkets, we could go into any shops and buy alcohol. So the first day we got there, we bought a bottle of peach snaps. And then when we was walking through like the town, you'd go into a shop and like a can of Coke would be like 80p, or a bottle of Budweiser would be 50p. It's like, well, we're saving money. But it is. And there was one day, there was in the resort bar, no, there's a strip on Tenerife. It was in Las Americas, and there was an English bar, and they had a band that played there every night that used to do like pop charty music. And we got really friendly with them, and they were like, we're going to another bar now to do another performance. Want to come with us? So we went out with them, and of course, because they're performing, they got their drinks thrown in. So they just got like fish bowls of cocktails.
Oh,
so it was like grab a straw and drink, and like we were like, oh yeah, that's cool, because like we're young dumb. So we were just drinking. Anyway, at one point in the night, all I can remember is I stopped drinking, I fell asleep, I puked on myself, I got my mate was trying to drag me home. He sat me down on some rocks and said I need to sit down for a little bit. I fell on the rocks and cut my head, and him and this German guy then carried me all the way back to the hotel. And the next day, no, thankfully. And but the next day we went to the bar, obviously a little bit worse aware, so I was a bit more comprehensive in my drinking. And they nicknamed me, very tasteless joke this, they nicknamed me Jill Dando because 2 shots and I was down.
Oh, dear. Did that stick all holiday then?
It stuck for the next 4 or 5 days of the holiday, yeah. It was pretty bad. And that was it. And I've never... Actually, you know what, I know this is egotistical of me. I'm going to tell you one other story just because this was included in my best man speech at my wedding. This story. So this story about being drunk was told to close friends and family. On my 21st birthday, I went out with my friends. They got me very, very drunk. When we left the club, they asked me to spear the pub sign outside. So it was one of these springy A-balls. You know the stuff they sometimes stick out of pubs and clubs to advertise what's going on. So it's one of these ones that was on a spring, right? And so when someone says to spear something, it's a wrestling term. It's where you run at it and basically shoulder charge it, a bit like rugby. Yeah. So they dared me to do that. So I took this massive run up, speared it down. Everyone cheered. I stood up, and of course, what happens when something's on a spring? Comes back and hits you. So then it come back and hit me. Then
in your head.
In my head, yeah. Then they said to me, they asked me to run into this phone box. The door's been left open. Just run into the phone box. It wasn't. It was the wall of the phone box. It was like a windowed phone box, obviously. So I ran into that and cut my lip open. Then they found a burger on the floor, took it back into the burger shop.
Oh, God.
Asked for a new bun, and were trying to feed me this burger. And they were also trying to get me to drink this bottle of WKD Blue. Now, for those that don't know, WKD Blues are like a alco pop, they call it, drink in England, which comes in a blue bottle. So you can't see the bottle, it's all like painted blue.
Did you come in a blue bottle that night?
No. They kept trying to get me to drink it.
No.
And I wasn't drinking it. And they said, like, "Oh, just have a drink. You must be really thirsty." I was like, no, I'm fine. And they said Triple H it. So this is another wrestling term. Triple H is a wrestler who goes to the ring, takes a swig out of a bottle of water.
Smashes it over his head.
No, he takes a swig, folds his arms out, and then spits it straight up in the air like a cloud of water.
Yeah.
It kind of rains down on him. So they told me to do that, this bottle of WKD Blue. So I did it. As I did it, I realised it was too warm to be WKD Blue, and it was my friend's piss.
Oh, so you drank your friend's piss?
It was in my mouth. I didn't drink it because I spat it, but I spat it all over me. That's
basically giving them a blowjob, that. Because his piss has touched his knob.
That is, well, kinda, I suppose, yeah, when you put it like that. But either way, I can look back at it with fun memories. But yeah, that after that 21st, I've been drunk quite a few times, but not to that kind of excess. Thankfully, I don't think I can manage it now.
No,
really.
Well, we were in. I'm name checking here. We were in Lee Baines' house. Now, Lee Baines was like Bainesy. He works in Blackpool now. He's a car salesman. Yeah, he used to work in B&Q. He got me into B&Q. So right, I'm going off on a tangent here. So you'd literally be in your B&Q hat with your B&Q pinny on, wearing over your B&Q shirt, with your B&Q name badge on, stacking B&Q stuff onto the B&Q shelves, and some cretin would walk up to you and go, "Hey mate, you work here?" And I'd go, "No." And he'd go, "All right, sorry," and walk off. But anyway, he got me into B&Q. Him and Kev White, right?
Whitey?
Whitey, yeah. He's got boss teeth. You should see his teeth. They are white. Right, so we had one of them summers where it's a crazy summer, 6 weeks, and we're in Bainesy's house. His ma's on holiday for like 2 weeks. We're in Bainesy's house every night.
Yeah.
And this one night, I'm that drunk. We used to put pepper up each other's noses and toothpaste on each other's eyelids and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I've blacked out on the bed, right? And I'm wearing shorts. So they shaved me leg, right? Just one leg. But on me leg, they drew a great big cock and balls.
Oh,
right?
Yep.
But the piece of art and the ingeniousness of it was they didn't shave where the balls were.
Oh.
So all my leg was shaven with a great big cock on it, and then at the bottom was a hairy set of bollocks. It was genius.
Oh, people just don't do that nowadays.
I don't think they do. No. And if anyone does want to do that, we will share these photos on our Twitter feed.
Oh, absolutely, that shadow. Hang on, one second. I've got the dog's whining at the door. Hang on. Just carry on. Sorry about me.
So, this one day, Jesus bought a forklift truck and he ate a Mars bar. And he took him down to Lee Malaby's house. And Lee Malaby was eating a Muller Light yogurt and a spoonful of cottage cheese. So, what do you think about that?
Cottage cheese. I don't even know where to begin with that.
Yeah, you can have that story. You've just missed the boss story about Jesus.
Jesus or Jesus?
Jesus and Lee Malaby.
Never have they been said in the same sentence again, before or again.
Did you see that picture I put out on Facebook and Twitter of Lee Malaby's dome?
I had to put my sunglasses on to look at it because the glare of it was quite remarkable.
I think he needs
some towers.
I don't know where he was. Oh, he might have been, you know. I'm sure he was going there with his Judy, yeah? With our Tracy.
Yeah, we like Tracy, just Lee.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he did mention he were going there for a dirty weekend.
Had you have a dirty weekend? Actually, don't answer that question. Let's not answer that question.
Riding a big one. Oh no, it's Blackpool.
That's Blackpool, isn't it? Yeah. You won't see me riding a big one, that's for sure. So
what did you go and see today for our American listeners? Is this film even splashed in America?
You know what? What's quite interesting? So, a bit back. So, first of all, the film is called MindHorn, right? So that's what the film's called. Now, it came out on the 5th of May or something. I think it came out on a bank holiday. But my local cinema wasn't showing it until this week. And it's had a very limited release. But apparently, it's going out on Netflix at the end of the month. But not in the UK. So our American listeners will be able to actually watch this film on Netflix in the next few weeks. But the UK, it's a BBC co-production. So I'm guessing it probably will go to Amazon Prime or something because David Brent did. David Brent was on all Netflix regions except for the UK, and it was Amazon
he was
UK.
on Amazon Prime. Yeah,
that's right. So I reckon it could be the same. But yeah, so I went to see MindHorn. I saw it in a screen. Now, when I was paying for my cinema tickets, I would refuse to go and see a film in this screen because it's so small. The screen I saw it in, I counted it, had 48 seats, right? And the screen itself was probably about the equivalent to 200 inches or something.
No way.
Yeah, I mean because it's basically an intimate. It's almost like a screening room. That's how I like it to be. They call them studio rooms. Now, at the cinema I go to, I think it's the same price to see a film in there than it is to see on any other screen. But, it just depends on where they stick the films. It's, based on popularity. But for me, to go and see a film on a screen that size, I may as well just watch it at home. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't see the point.
How many people were in there with you?
2. There was a couple behind me. That was it. It was 6:40 on a Monday night. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be very busy. So it was a good time to go. But, yeah.
Or maybe they've got that room for such films that they don't want to take up the space of a big 200-seater or 3, whatever.
Oh, no, absolutely. They serve their purpose. But for me, it's like if you're charging me the same price to go and see a film on a screen that size as you are on a massive screen, I'd go and see it. I'd go and see it another time, or I'd wait until it was on a different size screen, or I just wouldn't go. When I wanted to go and see Kong, the 3D version of Kong was in that screen, and I was like, well, that's the same as me almost watching it at home. So sod that for a laugh. I'll just go and watch the 2D one on a big screen. But anyway.
So give the listeners, the Americans, a quick, because I only seen the trailer today when you sent it, and the trailer blew me away. I was literally crying.
Yeah, it does. I think it sells it really well. So MindHorn is the name MindHorn is the name of a fictional TV detective from a TV show, a fake TV show in the 80s, which was about a police officer or a detective that had a bionic eye. And it's the film itself, although it's called MindHorn, is about the actor that plays him 25 years after the success of the TV show is a washed-up actor. But a real crime happens on the island where the program was filmed, and he's asked by the person apparently committing the crimes to, he'll be the only person that he'll liaise with. He won't talk to the police. He wants to speak to this fictional police detective. So they have to recruit him back to the island to play this character so that they can have some communication with the villain of the film. And yeah, it's a British comedy, and I really enjoyed it. It's very British in its humour, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out internationally, because
is it Shaun of the Dead type humour? Yeah, which was extreme, considering it's a zombie apocalypse. It was extremely British.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I mean, to me, it's a very British film. There's lots of the whole cast pretty much is English, except for did you? Oh no, it wasn't you. Another friend of mine said to me to watch The Babadook. Have you seen The Babadook?
I've seen The Babadook.
What's The Babadook?
It cries a lot.
So The Babadook is a Australian horror film, and the mother in that film was in this, but I didn't recognise her because she's got different hair. But yeah, I found it very entertaining, very funny, but it's very British in its humour. Well, so I don't know how it translates, but
2 films immediately spring to mind, right? The Three Amigos from the 80s.
Yeah.
And then, was it Space Galaxy or Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, so it's that kind of film where somebody who is playing a role is then having to kind of act out that role for real. So yeah, it's very similar in vein to that, but it's a British version of that. One of the cleverest things about it is obviously the film, if you hadn't already guessed, starts in the 80s on the set of this show being filmed, and they then play the intro that plays in 4.3 complete square vision, but as if it was on an old VHS tape. So you've got all the kind of the interference and the grain and the errors that you'd get watching a well worn out VHS tape. It's replicated really well, and it's just a really silly little touch, but one that makes it more believable because of it. It's just very, very well done. There's a few cameos in there from quite famous British people as well, so I won't spoil those. But it's one of those films that I think should get itself quite a cult audience. But yeah, the thing is, like, that's the beauty of having that unlimited card that I've got, because I would have probably seen that film anyway, but I may not have gone to cinema to watch it if I was paying 12 or 13 quid to see it.
So, in the words of Nick Branch, that being said, because you say that.
I do say that quite a lot.
You do say that.
Absolutely.
Right. What Pop After Dark score do you want to give it?
I would give it a 82.
That is a high praise indeed.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, I think the thing is, because the other week we watched a film called Why Him, right? And Why Him is an American film that came out around Christmas time, which stars Heisenberg, I can't remember his name, Bryan Cranston, and James Franco. And it's
Bryan Cranston basically plays Bryan Cranston in all his films now, doesn't he?
Doesn't matter, because he's brilliant at playing Bryan Cranston.
Because he's Bryan Cranston, yeah.
He gets away with it.
Yeah.
But the film is about Bryan Cranston's daughter, who's at university, starts dating this guy, and he's just a nightmare. Like, he's not like he is somebody who runs like an app company, so sold an app for like a lot of money, has no kind of common sense or decorum, just F's and Jeffs the whole time, very inappropriate, and he's trying to win over the approval of her family, and so it's like a kind of battle between them. And the film was funny, but as soon as I watched it, I couldn't really tell you much that I found funny in it. Like, it was one of those things that it was funny while you was watching it, but as soon as it finished, instantly forgettable. And I think sometimes there are, American comedies can sometimes be like that because they're so quick fire. It's how many jokes can we fit into 90 minutes?
Well, I've just started listening to a new movie review podcast, and it's James Richardson.
Oh,
everyone knows. Yeah,
the football guy.
Yeah, the football guy. That's the one. And the podcast is called, I was going to bring it up later when we pick a podcast, Truth and Movies.
Okay.
And it's apparently it's a magazine as well. Little White Lies magazine, I think it's called.
Lies. Yeah.
Oh, they?
Yeah.
Well, they've reviewed MindHorn in the second episode, but they reviewed Guardians of the Galaxy, and they basically, in episode 1, and they basically said that about Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel films. They're saccharine covered, sweet goodness, but when you walk out the movie, you struggle to basically remember anything about the film.
To be honest, I think Guardians is the exception to the rule, but I think my problem with Marvel films is that I agree to an extent. They've now got to the point where they try and cram so much into them. I mean, my wife, she's given up on Marvel films, other than Guardians, because she can't. Sorry,
is that the Gale thing though, where they can't see in colour or 3D?
No, but it's because like she'd sit there and she watched Iron Man, loved Iron Man. She liked the first Incredible Hulk. She didn't mind Captain America or Thor. Liked the Avengers, but then it all started kind of getting bigger. And then they had S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show S.H.I.E.L.D., and so some things would tie in with that, and the films would all kind of tie in together like one massive soap opera. And it was all just like when you're watching them over quite a big period of time, unless you're going to go back and rewatch those films, which I suppose is what they're kind of gunning for, they can get quite confusing. I remember we sat there watching The Winter Soldier when it came out, and she's like saying to me, "Oh, why is this person doing that?" And I go, "Oh, okay, well that's because so and so and so and so." And then something else happened. She'd go, "Well, what about that?" And I'd go, "Actually, I'm not too sure about that myself, because and I'd look back and it was because it was referencing Thor or something, or it was referencing the Avengers, whatever it was. But it's because they try and keep all these massive storylines going for all these different films, so they're all connected. And where there's just so many Marvel films, I think it's too big.
It's like trying to watch The Matrix with a girl.
Well, it's a bit. No, it's a bit like like when you watch a crime drama, like a police drama, and they've got a wall of suspects, and they've got loads of pins with bits of string.
Yeah.
It's like that, trying to work out the storylines through Marvel films. Now, those people that will be listening to this now, they'll be going, "Oh no, you got it wrong," not confusing. Well, and that's fine, but because I don't just watch Marvel films, and I don't watch Marvel films that often unless it's Guardians of the Galaxy, because she loves that one. Then it's hard for me to remember what happened in Thor 2. I can tell you what I thought of Thor 2. I thought it was shit, but there will be plot points in Thor 2 which will be referenced in other films that I won't remember. Because
is there a shit film now? Is there a film that enrages you to the point that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they normally start off with at the beginning of the film saying a Christopher Nolan film. To be honest, I was saying this the other day. I find Chris Nolan to be so overrated, it's untrue. Now, have you seen the trailer for Dunkirk?
Yeah.
Now, I think Dunkirk actually looks pretty good.
It looks amazing.
And what I like about it is what they've managed to do is they've managed to give Tom Hardy his Bane face mask again. So you can't hear anything he's saying. It's all mumbles. I thought that was quite constructive of them to do that. But I remember watching Memento when it came out. I actually went to the cinema to see Memento. It only had a small release in England at the time because it was, an unknown director and, it got a lot of praise, but it wasn't a very well-known film. I went out and saw that. I went out and saw Insomnia at the cinema when that came out. That was his second film. I didn't see The Prestige. I think that was the next film after that. But I saw it when it came out on DVD, and I enjoyed that. And I really liked Batman Begins, actually. And then it kind of went a bit downhill. I found The Dark Knight so overrated as a film. It's got a brilliant performance by
a dead fella.
Heath Ledger, yeah, dead fella. It's a great performance. I'm not going to say it wasn't. But it felt like that was the backbone of the film. I just found the rest of it quite convoluted. I just didn't really enjoy it. And the thing is, I saw it the opening night, so there was no buzz, no kind of reviews or anything like that by that point to really go on. The buzz was about Heath Ledger, but I didn't know.
Yeah, but I love all them three films.
I know. And so all right, so we had that, right? So we had The Dark Knight, then he came out with Inception. Now, Inception, I went to see a preview of, and I was really excited to see it. And I walked out of there, and I thought, oh, what a great film. Really impressed with it. Then when I came and watched it the second time when it came out for Christmas, we were sitting there both watching it, and I was like...
You didn't watch it with a girl, did you?
No, I watched it with the wife. But she'd already seen it as well. She'd gone to the cinema and seen it as well. So it's the second time of us watching it. And I'm watching it, I'm going, this is just bollocks. It's really, really good looking. The special effects in it are amazing. But the film itself is just a load of nonsense.
It's like that film where they all live on corn in the future and he goes interdimensional. What's that one?
Oh, I don't know.
You do.
Don't ring any bells.
It does. It's a time travelling film. He's the astronaut. He's the fella. He lives on a farm and he grow corn because that's all he can grow in the future. And the planet's dying.
How old is it?
5 years, 3 years.
Who's in it?
Some fella.
Brilliant. Well, it could be The Martian or Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Right, and that's Chris Nolan as well. So we haven't even got to Interstellar yet. So that was Inception, so I thought that was quite crap. Then they came out with The Dark Knight Rises. Now, I'd already admitted I wasn't a fan of The Dark Knight, but I didn't hate it. I was just disappointed in it. But I thought Dark Knight Rises, Tom Hardy, Anne Hathaway, like them.
Stunning.
Every film. No, it's not. It's rubbish.
Stunning.
Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Bane is shit.
That ending. Bane was amazing.
Bollocks, that ending. On top of that as well, he breaks Batman's back, but somehow he can recover enough to climb out of a bloody pit. No thanks.
He's Batman. You've got no concept of time.
Batman's got no superpowers. He's got a broken back.
He was there for years. He didn't. He just fractured.
He wasn't there for years. He was there for weeks. Anyway, rubbish film. Tom Hardy, I like
grew
as
a
an
beard.
actor.
Can you grow a beard in weeks?
Yes. I shaved last week and I've already got about a quarter of an inch on my face. True story. So that was pretty poor. Interstellar is the film you're talking about. Wouldn't even go and see it because it suffered from the same problem that Inception suffered, and that was the score by, I think it's Hans Zimmerman did the score. You see the trailer for Interstellar and you get this and that's the music, right? And it's the same in Inception as well. And I remember that was the only film I've ever put on my home cinema system. I had to turn the speakers off. Had to turn the subwoofer off because it was so bassy and annoying. It was just off-putting. So I couldn't even watch it.
It's like that. When you go to pictures now, there's always that noise they make in every film, isn't there? The noise as something like sinister's happening.
But that's Hans Zimmer. Well, that's what he introduced in Chris Nolan films, in my opinion. But at the same time, so although I've said most of his films are dog shit, I think Dunkirk looks good, and his early work is good. But he frustrates me so much as a director because he can obviously frame a theme.
Right, the war films are never realistic until Saving Private Ryan comes along.
I've still never seen Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my, what?
I heard, the thing is, like when it came out, I heard like people just turn around to me and say, "Oh, I found it so traumatic," and I thought, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. And it's just one of these films that it's not that I wouldn't watch, but I would have to be in the right frame of mind to watch.
Your homework, should you choose to accept it.
Oh, Craig, you ain't seen a bloody Alfred Hitchcock film. Give me homework.
I haven't, no, I haven't. But I will. I'll watch an Alfred Hitchcock film this week if you watch Saving Private Ryan.
If I can find it on a streaming service I've got, I'll watch it. I will promise you that. I do want to watch it. I just haven't got round to it.
You know my line of business.
I do.
Right. I've seen things. Right. Without going into detail, out of respect for the dead, yeah. I've seen things.
Yeah, I know the kind of things you'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. They are real. And movies, no matter what they do in movies, are not real. When you get shot in a movie, it's not real. Saving Private Ryan is as the realest film I've ever seen. And if Dunkirk has got to be, for that to work, because there's still people out there who were there, just about. They're old now, they're very old.
There's a few, there'll be a few left, yeah. Not many.
You know, and there's film footage, and there's video, you know, there's footage of them landings and everything like that, and what went on. It's not like it's an artistic impression or anything like that. Mm. He's got to nail it, so that is going to be a real film. Dunkirk has got to be real.
I think he will though. I think he'll nail it. I do think he'll nail it.
So there's going to be a lot of amputee actors, a lot of war veterans are going to be brought into that to star in that film for all the horrific scenes. I can imagine, you know, where they've lost limbs in real battles, they're going to be used in this film as extras.
Possibly.
Well, I think so. I think so. It's going to be horrendous. It'll be hard work to watch it.
Well, talking about hard work to watch, last night we watched 12 Years a Slave.
Never heard of it.
You haven't heard of 12 Years a Slave?
Is that the one where that fella's a slave for 12 years?
Yeah, that's the one, Craig, yeah.
No.
It got nominated for Best Picture, and I think it won Best Picture, actually. and it won. It got nominated Oscars for like best actor and actress. Really famous film about, obviously, as you can probably tell, American slavery.
Is that fella in it who's always either the president of United States or God?
No.
You know who I mean? No.
Morgan Freeman. Such a racist. So I watched 12 Years a Slave, and it is horrific. I mean, that's horrific.
Is it?
It's not. I mean, obviously, it's a different kind of thing to a war film, but you are seeing how a whole race of people were being persecuted, and how they were being talked to and looked at by a certain part of society. And the thing is with that film is set about 150, 160 years ago, and to think that was happening at that time, and in fact even later than that, I was on another podcast, I was listening to Zadie Smith on Adam Buxton's podcast, and she was obsessed with John Lennon. She was talking about a story she read when they were playing, I think it may have been Georgia.
Yeah.
And it was they found out the stadium was segregated, and they refused to go and play until they unsegregated it. And they said it's against the law of the state. We're not able to do so. And they said, well, we're not going out on stage. And in the end, they had to relent and let everybody, enjoy the concert as one.
That was the power of the Beatles.
Yeah.
That's how huge they were.
That was in the 60s. That was still, in some parts of America, still a thing. And
50 years ago next month, Sgt. Pepper come out. So half a century ago,
yeah,
people were still getting segregated because of the colour of the skin in certain states in America.
Yeah, it's just amazing. 12 Years a Slave is a fairly hard watch, but I think it's good to understand the kind of thing, and it's based on like the person in it was a real slave, and he actually wrote a book called 12 Years a Slave, which is what it's based on. I think it was published in the late 1800s or so. So it's actually like based on a book essentially about that time, and it's been traced back. It was traced back, I think, in the 60s or 70s by a scholar, and it's been traced back and kind of been all confirmed that what's mentioned in the book, all the houses and fields they worked on that he mentioned were all real. So it's shocking, but it's good to know these things. That's why I think they're quite important. But at the same time, they need to have an element of truth about them as well, because you don't want to watch. Can you imagine if you watched a film like Saving Private Ryan, and they changed how the war, how the war ended or something like that? Like, I know it's a bit extreme, but when you're watching something that's based on a true event, you want it to have. It's going to be dramatised to an extent, but you still need it to have a massive element of truth about it. Because
have you seen on Netflix talking about that? There's I think it's a film. It's a German film. So the subtitles, and it's Adolf Hitler.
Oh, Downfall.
No. It's Adolf Hitler drops out the sky in modern day Germany.
Oh, yes. I've not seen it.
I watched the first 10 minutes of it, and it was hard work.
I thought it was supposed to be a bit like Borat.
Well,
it's supposed to be a bit like a comedy more than.
Germans haven't got a sense of humour.
Henning Weig.
Hey, have you ever laughed at a German?
Yeah, Henning Weig.
Who?
He's a German comedian, Henning Weig.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's over here a lot. He's quite funny.
I might have heard of him actually on the.
He does the panel show circuit. He does like.
He might have been on the Friday Night Comedy Podcast at some point.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah.
And he is very funny, actually. I think I have now.
There's always an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One German in a millennium is funny. When they're not invading Poland, what are they doing?
He's in Bratwurst. Curryverse.
Oh, I do love that. Right, I watched Avatar this week.
You did watch Avatar, so this is a bit of a Dis After Dark crossover. You were talking about Avatar.
This is the second time I've watched Avatar. Now, I bought Avatar on iTunes about 3 years ago when it was on a Christmas sale, and I got it for I want to say $5.99, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it, and I enjoyed it. It is Fern Gully. It is
Started with Smurfs.
The Smurfs, yeah. It is Pocahontas. It's basically American history, isn't it? With what they did with the Native American Indians and.
Well, when I said Dancing with Smurfs, I was more making a reference to.
Oh yeah, Dances with Wolves, yeah.
Rather than
of course,
Smurfs,
yeah.
But
yeah.
Yes, that's the same thing.
What they've done is they've transferred the Indians, obviously, for another planet, and 6, 7, 8 foot, 9 foot fucking blue things with sex tails, but it's basically exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, I haven't watched Avatar since, and I've got it. I bought it in 3D. I got it in a sale. I got that and Titanic, both in 3D for like a tenner or something stupid. So I couldn't pass that up. Because apparently Titanic's got a quite good 3D conversion, but nevertheless, I will go. I bought it because I will watch it again. But I think the problem with Avatar, and maybe this is other people's problem as well, is not that it's not done well, because the effects are very, very good, very creative. The 3D is still one of the best 3D experiences I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. But
it's on a par for me for the new Wizard of Oz movie.
Okay, interesting. I never saw that in 3D actually, but I heard that was quite good. But I think the problem that people have, and I said this is what I believe, it may not be, but Avatar became the biggest film of all time. But really, there was nothing special about it. There was nothing unique about it.
It's just a film. It's like I put in our private chat on Facebook. It's a story that's been told before, but it was of its time. 3D was coming out. 3D was the new thing in the pictures. Everybody wanted a 3D telly. Apparently, you can't even buy 3D tellies anymore. I don't know how true that is, but
no, it's true. A lot of they're trying to get people to buy 4K tellies. Basically, what happened was they brought out 3D Sky and they brought out 3D Blu-rays after Avatar, and they thought everybody will go out and go, wow, I need a 3D TV, I'm going to buy one. Now, just for argument's sake, if you was going out now buying a brand new, decent top of the range TV, not the top, but a really decent TV, what are you looking at? Probably somewhere between £700 and £1,500 for a decent telly. Now, they thought that everyone would just go out and buy TVs. Well, most people had gone out and bought a flat screen TV a few years before.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Spent a good amount of money on one. So when we bought a flat screen TV, and I think about a year or so later, they brought out 3D TV, and it's like, we'd love the 3D TV, but there was no point in us buying one. Then a few years later, it was like, actually, you know what? The TV's getting a bit knackered. We're going to upgrade and buy a 3D TV. So that's what we did. But they just thought everybody was going to go out and buy 3D tellies. And most people will buy a new TV when they need one. And the lifespan of a TV can be anywhere between 5 years, if you're probably unlucky, up to 10 years. And every year they bring out new TVs with a new feature. But unless you're needing to buy a TV and spend that kind of money on one, why are you going to buy one just because it does 3D? Ludicrous. So the whole thing just backfired. It just completely flopped. And now they're doing the same thing with 4K. Now everything's 4K.
What I've been told about the chip or the module or whatever that they need for 3D in a television is it's minuscule and it costs a couple of quid to put in.
Yeah.
This is not an expensive piece of kit.
Oh no! What they're trying to do is that it's in the same way that they were leading with 3D being a reason to buy a TV. Now it's 4K. Now it's like, let's try and get everyone towards 4K. My friends lost their TV.
Did you use a 10?
Are you going to turn into a pumpkin now?
That's 12. If we're still here at 12 o'clock, it will be a fucking pumpkin.
David S. Pumpkin.
An ass pumpkin.
So
I don't know what one of them is. I've just made it up.
Probably a pile. But so the thing is, so my friends, their children smashed their TV. He lobbed the stool at his brother. His brother ducked and it smashed the TV. So I had to go and buy a new TV. And they said to me, what do you think we should look for in a TV? We're looking at this TV, or we could spend another £100 and get a 4K TV. And I said to them, I'll be honest with you. I know it wasn't 100. It was about £200 or £300 more for this TV they were looking at. So they could get a standard HD TV, or they could get a 4K TV. And they said, what should we do? Should we pay the extra? And I said, well, what can you watch? I said, you can watch a few things in Netflix. They film a few things in 4K. You can watch a few sporting events in 4K. They do a few sporting events in 4K. But most TV channels are only just finalised in HD. For them to actually broadcast in 4K, they're still a good 4 or 5 years away. Like that's what there's no BBC 4K or there's no ITV 4K because they're not ready to broadcast in that yet. Basically, the capacity is just not there. So the only way for you to really watch decent 4K stuff is to buy it, and you can go out and buy 4K Blu-rays, and they cost double the price of a standard Blu-ray. Most people I know still buy DVDs. I don't. If I'm buying a film, I buy a Blu-ray. But if it saves them 4 or 5 quid, they'll buy a DVD. So
I don't buy Blu-rays anymore.
No, you buy a digital download, you dirty git, don't you?
Yeah, iTunes.
You're the reason. See, what's going to happen if tomorrow Apple close down iTunes?
Well, they're never going to because...
well, that's not the rumor. That's rumour is that they are.
Oh, go on then. Come on, humour me.
No, apparently they're trying to push everyone towards Apple Music, and one of the options they're looking at is eradicating iTunes.
Potentially, it's going to be some sort of streaming service where you would get all movies, I would imagine. You can't. Apple Music is Spotify.
Yep.
So there's still people out there who don't need. I pay £14 a month for family sharing for Apple Music, and all my family, all 4 of us, from that family sharing get all our apps included, all our movies included that I buy, TV series, books, and Apple Music all included in that 14 for sharing purposes. What I need to start doing as an adult is making all my future purchases through my children.
Well, yeah, that's the other problem as well, isn't it, with digital?
Because when I die, I think Bruce Willis was trying to sue Apple at some point. I don't know what happened to that.
No, I've not heard what happened with that actually. Because
when I die, all my digital downloads apparently die with me.
Yep.
So I bought the Harry Potter box set for our Eve last year in the Christmas sale on iTunes. I think I got the all movies for like 20 quid, something like that. I got them in her name, so that if I croak it tomorrow, she can still watch her Harry Potter.
Yeah, but I don't get it, right? I mean, you can go, I've got all these films on DVD, on Blu-ray. There's software you can buy to convert that into files.
Yeah, that's a lot of arsehole.
It doesn't. Yeah, but the fact is, if anything happens to my digital copies, I've got physical backups.
Yeah,
and we're doing this thing at the moment. We're doing this thing at the moment. So the problem with DVDs and Blu-rays and of that ilk is storage. Take up a lot of room. So what we've done is we bought one of these like CD wallet cases, like quite a large one, that we're going to take all our discs out of the boxes, put all of this in these zip-up covers, and we're going to put all the boxes in the loft, out of the way, not bothering anybody.
Wasn't Amazon doing a thing that if you bought the digital download off them, they would send you out the DVD?
They do that with CDs. I don't think they do it with films.
So it's CDs, is it?
They definitely do it with CDs because we'll often buy an album on... Well, this is a stupid thing. So my wife will buy an album on iTunes. So like she bought Guardians of the Galaxy and she pays like, I don't know, 10 quid for it. But she could go into HMV and buy the CD for 9 quid and then put that onto iTunes anyway. Or she could buy it on Amazon and have the digital version straight away and the CD sent in the post the next day. So what's the point?
What is the point?
What's the point of anything?
What is the point of anything? That's just it burns your head out, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I mean, I'm firmly rooted in the Amazon. No, I'm not. I'm firmly rooted in the Apple ecosystem.
Yep.
So I'd quite happily keep giving me money to Apple. But the side effect is that eventually your hardware is obsolete after maybe 3 or 4 years for your iPads, 2 years for your phone. Although it's not 2 years, you can get like 5-6 years out of an iPhone, but you know, whether it's good enough, but you know, whatever it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you heard, talking of mass murderers, Ian Brady's dead?
Yeah, just gonna let.
Gobshite.
Yeah. 79
years old, still didn't put them poor families out of their misery and put them souls to rest.
Well, they were talking about it today because I saw a thing saying I didn't think he had long left, and they were trying to get him to give up some more information, but whether or not he actually did do before he died or not, I don't know.
The thing is, right, to give up information, I can't remember what I did last week, and last week I wasn't killing kids in the 60s. These were doing these horrific crimes in the 60s. Now, if you were to take somebody from the 60s and fast forward, because he's been institutionalized since the 60s, so 50 years in prison, to take him out of that and say, right, where did you put body A, body B, you know, whatever, it's a different world. It's irrelevant now. Them roads that he was driving up and down don't exist anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was never going to give them any more information because I don't think he physically could. I'm not sticking up for him, by the way, but if he was going to give up information, he needed to have they needed to have pushed them harder at the time. You know, and maybe they'd have got some information, but yeah, he was only down the road from us, Ashworth.
Oh, really?
It's not too, yeah, it's only like McGull. It's about 5 miles away. Still a gobshite, like.
Yeah, well, that's one way to describe him, I suppose.
You never see a photograph of him, do you?
Well, only the only ones I ever saw of him were like the mugshots.
Well, when someone famous dies, the first thing you do is you look for the last photograph of them, don't you? So that'll be interesting.
I suppose you mean like Charlie Manson. You still see? No, I don't mean Manson. I mean Bronson.
Yeah.
Like Bronson, you still see pictures of him that are quite recent, don't you? So,
or Elvis, or John Lennon. The last photograph of John Lennon, the last photograph of Marilyn Manson, the last photo. Oh, he's not dead.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe, yeah. The last photograph of Ronnie Corbett. I love Ronnie Corbett.
I wouldn't have thought of Ronnie Corbett, but yes, I know you're.
He was a lovely little fella.
I hear that actually.
Yeah. I just cuddled him forever.
Yeah. No, he never heard anyone talk badly about him.
Yeah, Paul Daniels.
The opposite of your Scylla.
Scylla wasn't very popular.
Yeah, actually, I hear that. She in Liverpool, she wasn't very popular.
No, if you're a Scouser, right? As I'm a Scouser, yeah. Born and bred in Liverpool, yeah. If you make it, and you leave Liverpool, then you're a gobshite. Now, I'm not being funny. I love Liverpool. I'm proud to be from Liverpool. But if next Friday I win the Euro lottery and it's a 70 million jackpot,
well, you can come to live down here.
I'm literally not staying in Liverpool. I'm buying a place in Florida. I'm buying a place in Spain. I'm buying a place in the Highlands of Scotland. And I'll have a base in Liverpool. I'll come home every so often. And that's the thing. Ringo Starr, the poor fella, is on Jonathan Ross. And Jonathan Ross basically asks him, would you come back to live in Liverpool? And he lives in LA. I don't care where you live, right? In the whole of United Kingdom. Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol, Hull, Grimsby, Darlington, Slaphead, right? Anywhere you live in the UK, if it's a toss-up between LA and anywhere in the UK, you're not coming home.
No.
Now, you put into context that Ringo Starr was a sickly child. One of them kids that nearly died. He had all sorts wrong with him. He's not a well man in himself in respect of he needs warm weather, he needs nice weather. Do you know what I mean? Some people are like that, aren't they?
Yep.
You need the sun on you. So why is he going to come back to live in fucking Liverpool? Jonathan Ross set him up like the little fucking southern little gobshite that he is with his fucking boss little lisp. He's a fucking bellend. Just said it now. Sticking up for Ringo. Ringo's in the house. The Ringo posse.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
I won't do any more signatures. Peace and love.
Thomas pulled out of his beard.
You sick guy. So, is there anything else? There's not been anything to do with TV recently, is there? Have you started watching Line of Duty yet? On my recommendation.
No. Everyone has said in the Line of Duty. Right, okay. Is it a 6-parter?
I think the first. See, only the first 2 on Netflix at the moment. They haven't put the third off. Well, I won't put the 4th one yet because it's only just finished. But there's still the 3rd one's supposed to be coming on soon. But I think the first 2 are 6-parters. They're not very long.
Are they an hour long each episode?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It just doesn't jump out at me. Is it basically like a detective series in the UK? So it's like Morse.
I would never compare it to something like Morse.
Better than Morse.
Oh, pisses all over it. The thing, it's not. So Line of Duty isn't. It's not episodic in. It's not a crime per episode. It's like an overarching story. So each series is about a crime.
Okay.
So it's like a long game. So it's not like, you watch one episode and they catch the villain by the end and everyone's hunky-dory. Every episode is part of a series. And the series are actually, you kind of find out as you watch them, they're interconnected. But yeah, it's not like Law and Order, it's not like Morse, it's not like Midsummer Murders or anything like that. It's something completely different. And they do a lot of, they don't do a lot of, that's not true, but they do interrogation scenes. And one of the, I think in the last series that was just on, one of the interrogation scenes was about 32 minutes. But the thing is, it is utterly gripping. Like, they must rehearse it for so many hours before they film it, because it's like you're a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
The emotions and the reactions and everything like that, it's compelling. There's nothing else really quite like it when it comes to these things. Police dramas, everything like that, there's obviously 10 a penny, but this is not like anything else. That's why people kind of go on about it, because it is its own thing. So yeah, at some point you should get on that. But
what's it called again?
Line of Duty. In America, it's on Hulu. So our American listeners, you can watch it on Hulu. Hulu. We don't get Hulu in this country. Hulu. Wishes.
Wishes.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's much else. Actually, I'll tell you what. You know what? If you're in the UK, you should really watch Taskmaster.
Never heard of it.
Taskmaster is on Dave, right? So American,
hello, Dave.
American listeners, we have a channel called Dave because everybody knows Dave. That's why they named it Dave, because everybody knows Dave. And Taskmaster is a show. It's got. Did you ever watch The In-Betweeners?
Yeah.
It's got the headmaster from The In-Betweeners.
Oh, yeah.
He's the Taskmaster. And every series, they have 5 or 6 comedians. And what they do, like, they're given tasks to do. And it's all kinds of weird stuff. So, like, one the other day was they had 2 fence panels in a garden set up. And they had loads of ducks on these fence panels just sat on the top, and the task was to knock these ducks over without touching, without going past this line. So they put like a rope barrier up, so that the ducks were probably about about 25 yards away.
Real ducks?
No, toy rubber ducks. And so the task was you had to knock these ducks off. The quickest time wins, and once the first duck has been knocked off the wall, that's when the clock starts. And so it's how they approach these tasks, because obviously there are quicker ways to do things. So it's them trying to come up with like a humorous, not necessarily a humorous way, but obviously when you're watching them, it's humorous, but a way of doing it. And it's all just little tasks like that. And it's been so successful on Dave, they're actually doing an American version of it later this year.
On John?
No, on Comedy Central, actually. So it's going big guns.
Dave Jr., Dave Senior the second. What did he say in America? No, it's Dave Jr., isn't it?
Dave Senior, Dave Jr.
Yeah,
Dave Senior. But no, it's going to be on Comedy Central, so it's been taken over there, so it could be quite successful over in America as well. But it is constantly one of the funniest hours of the year when an episode of that is on.
We struggle to watch UK telly anymore.
You got to pick and choose.
We literally live on YouTube. We live on Netflix and Disney Life.
Cody?
I'd rather not talk about it. We're watching The Flash at the moment.
I just bought a Roku, so I don't know what Cody is, but I'm going to try and find out. Just heard things, that's all.
Just like being a Disney nerd and all that, Disney Life, when it come out at a tenner a month, was excruciatingly extortionate.
Oh, I know you said it's improved immensely, haven't you?
It's improved. The catalogue has improved. The stability of the app has improved. They put it on the Apple TV 4th generation, which makes it just phenomenal.
I'm glad you said that because I couldn't find it on my Apple TV, but I've got 3rd gen.
3rd gen, yeah, it's not on 3rd gen.
Yeah.
You can AirPlay from the app.
Yeah, I did wonder.
Which is a pain in the arse.
It's not.
It's not the best. It works, but it's not the best. But now it's gone from a £10 a month to a £5 a month.
Now, when they launched it, you got an app free a month. Do they still do that?
No, they discontinued the apps. The app isn't right. When have
rubbish.
you ever seen a decent Disney app?
Never.
Or a decent Disney game? This shit.
The only ones that were good when they were doing that, when they used to do that thing with Disney Life, the only apps that were good were like the interactive books.
Well, the books are still on there.
That's good because the thing is, they were a rip-off anyway. Because I think they were like £6 or £7 a book anyway. There were a lot of money for what they were.
You can still have all the interactive reading. All the books are still on there. The books are brilliant.
Now, what kind of films are on there? Because I understood that because of the Sky contract, they couldn't have very recent films.
Well, Moana's not on it. The big film that's just come on, Disney-wise, is Big Hero 6.
Right, so that is 2 years behind the curve.
Yeah, but basically every other Disney film that has been made in the history of Disney is on there. Yeah. So your two shitty Tron movies are on there. The Black Hole, The Black Cauldron, everything that you can think of. Herbie Goes Bananas, Herbie Takes It Up the Arse, everything.
Yeah.
They're on there.
That's interesting. That is interesting. So the thing is, so at the moment, we have a subscription to Now TV, because it's just easy for Disney.
Now TV is absolutely stunning.
It's just Sky, isn't it? It's just digital Sky.
It's basically digital Sky. You've nailed it. For a fraction of the cost, you can streamline, because you don't need Sky. It's like we've got Virgin Media. They're coughing up blood, these behemoths, these gargantuan TV packages. If you sit down, and write down every show that you watch on your package for a week and then do it for a month, you'll find you only watch about 10 channels, if that.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, I left Sky because of reasons for going to BT, and the first instinct was, but I'm not going to be able to watch I don't know, whatever crap she was watching, I don't know, but E was the big channel that she used to watch, and you could buy some additional channels through BT. You couldn't buy like Sky One because that is exclusive to Sky. Virgin don't have that either, but you could get things like Comedy Central and E for like a few quid a month. So we had those channels added on to our TV package. But to be honest, you're right. You don't actually. There'll be programs you watch, but you won't sit there and watch the same channels every day because there's not stuff on there all the time that you want. The beauty of Now TV is that if you're with Sky, I think the HD film package is probably about 20 quid a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Now TV, it's half that cost. And if you can buy vouchers, then it's even cheaper. Or sometimes do promos. So why anybody would want to pay for Sky Movies anymore, I don't get. Now, what's interesting is that, obviously we've got this in the UK and it's a new way of Sky selling their services. But have you ever seen how much a cable bill costs in America?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, you're looking at over £1 a month.
Yeah.
And with cable companies, they've got monopolies. So a bit like Sky, in that they won't let Virgin have Sky One. If you're with DirecTV, there'll be channels that you get on DirecTV you don't get access to if you're a Time Warner customer, for example.
If I want Sky, I can get all Sky for free because I use my brother-in-law's login details from his Sky TV on my PlayStation 4.
Yep.
So I can watch Sky whenever I want. So that's why I cancelled my Now TV, because I had Now TV for Game of Thrones, because there is other ways to watch Game of Thrones, as we've discussed, but they're not quite as reliable as a official legal way of watching them. So I paid £6 a month, I think it was, for Now TV. And you got, I think it was 11 TV channels. And when I did get it, it had the Disney Channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the Disney Channel, because of Disney Life, got discontinued. And you can watch the Disney channels on your iPad or your iPhone. However, they won't allow you to watch it on the Apple TV app.
Interesting.
However, you can AirPlay them across from your iPad.
So that makes no sense.
So Disney Life, you pay a £5 a month for Disney Life, and you've got your Disney Channel, your Disney Junior Channel, your Disney XD, just AirPlay it across to your 4th or 3rd gen Apple TV, not a problem. So I think there's cable cutting is sweeping the world, and I think we in our house need to do it. My wife is still very much EastEnders is on at 7:30. That's when I'll watch it.
Yeah, but then you can do that.
Oh, you can do
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, if you cancelled Sky, or you got Virgin, if you cancelled Virgin tomorrow, you'd still be able to watch and record your digital chat, like what we used to refer to as terrestrial channels. The only things you won't get are those premium cable channels. But you would still have access to all your ITV, Channel 4, that kind of malarkey. But yeah, I'm with you. The landscape is changing. I mean, the thing is, at the moment, my wife lives away from home, or lives away, stays at her mum's a few days a week because of the kids going to school. So what we do is, during the week, all the things that we would watch together get taped. There's a few programs that I would watch by myself. There's a few programs that she'd watch by herself. And when she comes back, we'll spend the weekend catching up with the programs that we would watch together. Hell's Kitchen's just finished, so that's one less that we've got to worry about. But we don't really watch anything in real time anymore. The only program we've watched in real time recently was going back to Line of Duty, just because we had to see it before it got spoilt by anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like we were like, right, Sunday 9:00, that's our time to watch that. We need to watch it. Done.
I think on Now TV you can watch. You can pay for the sport packages, can't you? You get 24 hours, all of Sky TV channels for £9.99 for 24 hours of use.
I think sports is a bit more than that. I think it's about 15 quid.
Okay, it might be, but
the sport is a lot more expensive than the films. I know that much.
Right. So, but that's for 24 hours. Now, Apple were looking at the Premier League at the last bidding war that Sky and BT ended up carving up between them for billions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to any other team in the Premier League, Sky Sports bores me. I don't want to watch Crystal Palace versus Millwall, or Crystal Palace versus Hull, or Hull versus whoever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then Crystal Palace fans probably don't want to watch Liverpool. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's always the thing. I know what you're saying.
But we all have to pay the same price to watch hundreds of matches where our own teams are only in a fraction of them.
Well, if you look at the model across the world, so that's what we have in the UK. If you go to the pub, and you go to a pub that's got a special satellite, shall we call it, that's pointed in a certain direction, they'll be able to to beam games over from like Dubai, and on a Saturday afternoon, they will have on probably 10 Premier League games at 3:00, and they will just stick everyone on in the pub. That so like normally in where I live, it's mainly a West Ham area. So if West Ham are playing, that'll be the game that's on. But if there's not a West Ham game on, it'll be like Spurs or Arsenal, because you get Spurs and Arsenal supporters where we are, and a few Chelsea. So it'll be whatever they think is more popular. Or they'll show a few different games at different parts of the pub. So you just go and stand near the screen that you want to.
But could you imagine if Apple get involved with the Apple TV 4th Gen, which is an app-based product, right? So you are a West Ham fan, I am a Liverpool fan. You go on that app, on that TV, and you buy or download the West Ham app. I download the Liverpool FC app, and I then have an in-app purchase for, say, an example price, 200 quid for the season, or 15 quid a month, or whatever, and that gives me exclusive footage, live footage of every Liverpool game that season, and you get every West Ham game that season, so on and so forth. That is going to be the big thing. That's going to be the game changer.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, to be honest, like, I know why BT did what they did, but I think in hindsight they probably paid, and Sky probably paid over the odds for what they got. I mean, it was close to like a few £1 billion for 2 years worth of access to Premier League games. It's a ridiculous sum of money. And year on year, I mean, BT don't release that many statistics about their subscriptions, mainly because if you buy, I think it's sort of the case, if you have BT broadband, you get BT Sport free.
Yeah, you do.
So not many people buy BT Sport because they get it as part of their contract.
Yeah, well, we get it free on Virgin Media.
Yeah.
If you're on the HD or the XL package, you get BT Sport for free.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not very forthcoming with the amount of subscriptions they get. They release some of the viewing figures sometimes. And the thing is, like, even for like a big, like a large Premier League game, you might get at best 700,000 viewers. And I can't imagine Sky Sports is that different, to be honest. I imagine it's probably on about a par. So the thing is, the viewing figures are kind of down anyway. I think football is at a kind of breaking point because it's more and more money to go. Like I went to West Ham twice last season and once this season. I went twice because the bowling ground was being knocked down, and I went once this season to see the new stadium. But for me to go by myself, you're looking at a good, easy 40 quid to go to the game. To get into the game. You've got your travel up there, which could be another 15 quid or so on top. Something to eat, something to drink. You're looking at probably best part of 100 quid by the time everything's said and done for a day out.
So let's picture, right? You've bought the West Ham app. I've bought the Liverpool FC app, right? So you go on the app on your day-to-day life. One of the screens on there is the 24-hour Apple TV sports news channel, like Sky Sports, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just rolling through, so you can click on that and watch all the shite. They would also have West Ham, Liverpool reserve games. They would also have women's football, if that was a thing, like Liverpool have got a ladies, I don't know if West Ham have, right? So whenever them games were on, the under-21s, the under-18s, it all comes in the package. Then on a Friday night, they have another channel, or on the same channel as the news channel, the rolling, the match of the day style game, where I can still watch all the goals from all the other games in the Premier League that day. But ultimately, I buy that app, I buy the in-app purchase to watch my team live, and then that game is screened on repeat for a couple of days afterwards. I think that's the future. I think that's the model of what modern football will be. I really do.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, like, bring it back to America. I mean, you get that quite a lot you'll see. I think you're going to see that kind of trend as well because, obviously the Super Bowl is still extremely popular, but I don't think, like the sports channels like ESPN, their viewing figures have been dwindling for the last few years because more and more games are kind of being shown on free TV. So I think that the NFL and the NHL and NBA, they'll probably go down and try and look at a similar kind of route of, buy it for us. I mean, you can buy it now. You can buy an NFL pass.
Yeah.
I can't remember how much it costs, but that gives you access to games for the season.
Now, in that app that I'm talking about that doesn't exist yet, in my Liverpool FC app, it's Arsenal versus Chelsea this weekend. Well, for an extra £5, I could buy that game as another in-app purchase. So not only are the Chelsea fans and the Arsenal fans paying for their own app to watch them games live, but Liverpool fans, Man United fans are watching that game live as well.
Thing is, they've got to be competitive with it because the thing is, I don't know what it's like at Liverpool, but the cheapest West Ham season ticket, I think, after the move, is about £250, I think.
Have you sold that stadium out?
Yeah,
because it didn't look sold out.
Yeah, no, like you couldn't buy it. There's a massive waiting list for season tickets.
When Liverpool crushed you the other day 4-0 at your own stadium, that stadium was half empty.
Yeah, it's because people started leaving, I imagine. But season ticket wise, I think there was about 30,000 seats of the stadium was season ticket, and they all sold out. And there's quite a big waiting list.
How many does it hold?
52.
How many did the old West Ham hold?
36.
So that's the problem. That's why you had season tickets priced competitively and rightly so.
Yeah, no, agreed. I know why they've done it, and that's also why there's such a long waiting list. Because it is a reasonable season ticket in the grand scheme of things. They wanted to make sure it did, but at the same time, it's proved popular. They've frozen the season ticket prices again. This season, it's still going to be the same prices. I think it'll be. I can't see them changing it too much. They might increase it over time, but I don't think dramatically, because the moment they get too much, people stop dropping their season tickets, and then won't be able to fill that stadium. So, they've got to be careful with that. I think that's the thing. I think you'll see that more and more from clubs, is that the bigger the stadium, the cheaper the season tickets.
Look at Man City.
Well, have you ever seen how much the German, like the Bundesliga, charge for season tickets?
Oh, yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's sweet FA, and yeah, we'll look at that league. But that's the way to do it, and I think there's increasing pressure now to get people to go to games because of the risk of these things kind of happening. I mean, the reason there's no 3 o'clock kickoffs in the UK on TV is because part of the agreement with the Premier League and everything was not to allow that to happen because they're worried about the impact it would have on people going to games. You will always get people that want to go as long as they're not priced out. And they've, most clubs have got to that point now where they are.
Why not have the 3 p.m. kickoff on the telly, right? But also, because of that, you don't want to watch a 3 p.m. kickoff or any kickoff if the stadium's half empty, there's no atmosphere, it's crap. They would have to then price to make sure that 3 p.m. kickoff was sold out every week because telly fans are watching it.
Let's be honest though, different argument, but football is just prima donnas now, getting far too overly paid. So
but you could take footballers are just exactly the same as how much does Lewis Hamilton get for driving around a racetrack for 70 laps?
Oh yeah, a few £1 million a year. Yeah,
a few £1 million a frigging race. How much money does an American footballer get for not even playing the full game, coming on and playing 20 minutes?
Yeah, million.
It's the same. It's just the problem. We could go to the game every single week for nothing, and it wouldn't impact on them clubs anymore because they earn so much. Right, we knew Ron Yates, right? Do you know who Ron Yates is?
No.
He was the Liverpool captain that lifted the FA Cup for the first time in, off the top of my head, 65. I think it might have been 66 actually. We knew him because he lived next door to our friend in the 90s, right? We had a couple of meals with him. He was the chief scout for Liverpool at the time. And in that time period, he signed Stan Collymore for £8 million.
I remember that.
Now, £8 million back then, in about 95, whenever they bought him, 96, was the entire gate receipts for that one season. Now, I know times changed and all that, and clubs are bringing in over £1 million a game now, but how insignificant is the money through the turnstile if the club can survive all season with no gate receipts? Because we blew it all on Stan Collymore.
Well, that's what football's become. There's too much money in it now.
That's never going to change. It's only going to go up.
You say it's never going to change, but it has, because I still like, what was it, the early 80s when we had the first £1 million transfer, and then this year we had Paul Pogba for 80 million.
Oh, yeah. What still burns my head out is one of the greatest footballers I ever seen was Peter Beardsley, and we signed him from Newcastle in '87 for £1.9 million, and that burnt my head out. That blew me away, because we got John Barnes from Watford the same season for, off the top of my head, it's about £700,000.
Yeah.
John Barnes, the greatest footballers ever to walk the earth.
And the greatest rapper.
He couldn't half rap, mate. I come from Jamaica, my name is John Barnes, and when I do my thing, the crowd go bananas.
I was thinking more World in Motion, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it's all the same.
Talented man. Right, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Podcasts. So let's wrap it up. Let's just do one podcast each. Mine is Truth in Movies, A Little White Lies podcast. They've got 3 episodes. It's James Richardson from the Football. He's on the Football Weekly, the Guardian's Football Weekly podcast twice a week. He's branched out into movies. He's got a YouTube channel, I think, where he does movie reviews as well. But he's now doing a podcast, Truth and Movies. Episode 1 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then there was MindHorn, and then the 3rd episode was Alien Covenant. Actually, quite a good podcast. I could listen to James Richardson talk about cheesecakes. Do you know what I mean? I love them.
Fair enough. I've been getting back into, because I haven't listened to it for a while. What is it? Just Doug Loves Movies, which is another movie-based podcast, but it's more of a game. It's more like a panel game than they don't really review films. They talk about films, but it's more a panel game. So,
what's it called?
Doug Loves Movies.
Okay, let me just search for that now.
Long running podcast. Been going for years and years and years. But yeah, they have a lot of mainly American comedians. Occasionally they'll get actors and actresses and directors on as well to play. They've had James Gunn on from Guardians of the Galaxy. Michael Rooker as well been on that. They've had Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. Who's the director of those films? Jesus Christ, my memory's shot tonight. Edgar Wright, that's the guy. But they've had all kind of manner of people on that show over the years, and some shows are better than others because sometimes the guests really gel, and sometimes they're quite funny. Sometimes they get really drunk and obnoxious, and the episodes don't go to plan. It's just part of the fun of it, really. You never kind of know what you're going to get. But yeah, that's quite a fun one. If you want something quite light to listen to in the background, I recommend Doug Loves Movies.
Mark Wahlberg has just dropped 5 hours ago.
That, spoiler alert, it's not actually Mark Wahlberg. It's somebody who does a very good impression of Mark Wahlberg. And the thing is, because obviously they film. Oh, so the other thing with Douglas movies is they film it in front of an audience, so there's a live crowd. So obviously everybody there is fully aware the guy on stage is not Mark Wahlberg because he doesn't look like him. However, he does do a very good impression of him. So it's very funny. A Mark Wahlberg episode is always a highlight in my eyes because it's always an entertaining episode because the guy that does him is so good. Yeah. So yeah, if it's in quotation marks, you ever see it? It seems to be an American thing actually because I've seen this with another American comedy podcast called Comedy Bang Bang, and they always have their guests in the show titles. But if there's exclamation marks, it's somebody doing an impression of that celebrity.
Right, okay. So it's Mark Wahlberg in exclamation marks and Chad Daniels.
Yeah, and somebody called David Apples Appleton. I don't know who that is. So sometimes you'll recognise some of the comedians or actors because you might see them in other things. Other times I listened to one today and I knew one of the guests because I listened to him on the podcast before, but the other guys were completely new. So it's pretty hit and miss, but it's quite fun playing the games along to yourself. So yeah, that's quite a good listen.
And no names, but the Sex Pest is on Metal Hands of God.
Yes, yep. So there's that podcast as well. So you can go and listen to him. Yep, Adam Goes Sultanas. Spin-off of Herbie Goes Bananas, of course. So he loves it when we get his name wrong. That's not his name as well, so that's probably why it doesn't bother him that much. But yes, so cool. Okay, well we'll wrap this up. Thank you if you've made it this far. Thank you. We will record a Universal After Dark at some point this week after our Boston has come back from her travels.
She's a bit poorly, God bless her.
She is. We gave her the night off and we delayed the recording for her. We're recording one of those this week. And then,
what's got Dis After Dark coming out this week, and it's...
a special one of those, yeah.
Yeah, the memoirs of Paul Dolan.
Yeah.
So you've got our Paul Dolances, if you stick with that. Thank you.
Very true.
Invented that.
I did. It's not made a T-shirt yet. In fact, speaking of T-shirts, Patreon listeners, I promise I will get those sorted out. I just need to make sure that they actually look. I don't want to send out a T-shirt that looks ropey. So I'm having some test ones done first. If I'm happy with the quality, they will be going out. But yeah, that's why they've been delayed. So apologies for that.
We don't want to see your nipples through them.
We don't at all. And yeah, if anyone hasn't got their stuff yet, send us an email. If we haven't sent out goodies to you yet, we should have done, but if not, let us know and we will rectify that ASAP. Just life and work has got in the way, so apologies for being a bit slack. We're going to record our first bonus dad episode, aren't we? For our Patreon. So saying that, she hasn't given us an episode.
Someone did give us an episode.
Did they?
Yeah, there's emails there, I think.
Oh, well, we need to look at it. Okay. Yeah. Right, well then we'll get recording that sooner rather than later. But
I think they wanted you to shit on me chest and just record it as a podcast.
We'll have to do that next time we meet up, Craig. Not that I have any idea when we might next be face to face.
No idea when I'm next going to see you.
Oh, that's terrible. We really should try and sort something out somewhere about, as Captain Picard would say, making it so. Little Star Trek reference there, people. Right.
I'm going to shave my head, and you can grow a beard.
Excellent. So we can be, you can be Lee Malaby.
And you can be Tracy Malaby. Oh, Tracy, I'm only messing up.
I am not getting involved in that one, Tracy. I did not say that.
Oh, God.
I love you. We both love you.
Too.
Yeah, it's Lee that we've got an issue with. Only joking,
Lee, we love you. Lee, you know the dance.
I I hope he does. I hope he knows that I'm taking him.
I send him pictures of my helmet daily.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much, dear listener. We'll see you with another Pop After Dark in a month or so, and who knows, maybe next time it'll be structured, but probably not.
If I get round to watching some James Bond, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I'm going to give Avatar 84 out of 100.
Oh, you gave it 79, no?
Oh, did I? Fucking hell. 79 out of 100.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, boom, Benny Hill.
We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you would like to support Dis After Dark and the other After Dark Network podcasts, please visit our website at www.patreon.com/Dis After Dark. That's patreon.com/Dis After Dark. Thank you.